I'm at a department store in Seoul's Gangnam district.
저희 11층으로 가야 돼요.
We are at today's destination. When I arrived, it immediately gave me a good feeling.
제가 지금 와 있는 곳은 어디게요? 약간 뭔가 외국 느낌이 나지 않습니까? 외국 아니냐고요? 아닙니다. 저는 지금 한국 서울에 있어요. 오늘 여기에서 오 대사님을 만나기로 했는데요. 어떤 분이실지 여러분 한번 추측해봐 주세요. 뒤에 이 사진이 힌트입니다. 날씨가 좋아서 기분이 너무 좋네요.
While I was looking around, today's featured ambassador and the executive director of the department store arrived. Let me introduce you to the Czech ambassador. That is right. Today's featured country for real diplomats is Czechia.
Czechia is a landlocked country located in Central Europe. It's surrounded by Germany, Poland, Austria, and Slovakia. Similar to Korea, about 70% of the country is mountainous. It has beautiful old architecture and cultural heritage. 17 sites, including the historic center of Prague, the historic center of Telch, and the historic center of Český Krumlov, have been registered as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Meanwhile, Czechia has produced many internationally renowned artists. Authors Franz Kafka, Milan Kundera, and Karel Čapek, composer Antonin Dvořák, famous for his New World Symphony, and painter Alphonse Mucha, known as the pioneer of Art Nouveau, are all from Czechia. Czechia is also known as a developed country for puppetry, comics, and animation. The stop-motion animation Pat and Matt, which was also introduced in Korea, was created in Czechia.
Then why is today's featured country Czechia? It is because the Dreaming About Prague culture event is being held here. Real Diplomats team was able to visit thanks to the invitation of the Czech Embassy. The romance of Prague felt in the middle of a busy city. Doesn't it feel like we are in a different world? The ambassador and the executive director are about to take a mini tour of the venue. Let's follow them.
Prague is a city of towers. And then here, many towers. Only here, so actually Prague is the city of towers. Prague started from this side, from actually, that was the castle. And in European culture, castle was always on the top and then down a smaller part of the city.
이제 보통 이제 프라하가 여기서부터 시작됐다고 보시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
그러니까 저희 직원들도 그 느낌을 지금 말씀하셨던 느낌을 최대한 잘 살리기 위해서 많이 준비하고 고민하고 연구해서 만들었거든요. 근데 생각한 느낌이 잘 연출이 돼서 다행이네요. 이번에 진행하면서 그 출판사하고 협업을 통해서 체코의 어떤 좀 문화가 담긴 그런 책들도 좀 많이 연출을 하고 고객분들이 와서 자유스럽게 볼 수 있게 같이 좀 조화롭게 연출을 좀 했거든요. 날이 좋으면 이게 다 지금 이렇게 누워서 편하게 책을 보고 계세요.
There were a lot of people lying on beanbags enjoying the sun and reading books. Marionettes, a Czech specialty, were also on display.
This is one of the really best pieces of our history and culture, meaning the marionettes and everything. This is the old school we do with not only the plays but as well the production of the marionettes.
After the short tour, I was able to interview the ambassador. How long have the embassy and department store been preparing for the event?
It's a collaboration between us, and the Hyundai department store. And it started last year when the Hyundai department store said, they had, some idea, to how to promote some countries, and they came to us, we would like to cooperate with them about Czechia. And I said, I think, it was a great, idea. And then then we started to do it, more in concrete since the January this year.
So it was first proposed by the department store?
Yes, I mean, that was because they had experience, with Qatari embassy, about Arab night, and they thought it is good, But from our point of view, so it is now it's for 5 weeks, and this project is quite big, so needed, a lot of preparation, and we are happy, that in the end, we have a wonderful project, which actually showing the Czechia and Prague at its best.
Were there any difficulties preparing for this event?
I think the biggest challenge was coordination, because on our side, it was not only the embassy, but it was like our agencies, the culture center, the Czech tourism, the Czech trade, and as well on the other side, the Hyundai department store, So actually the embassy was like a moderator between all the institutions around, because you have to find a way to actually to that everyone would be happy and satisfied, because everyone had its own ideas, how it should be done.
So did you hear some of Korean public's reactions about this event?
I've heard, and to be frank, I haven't been able, to hear it, my proper eyes. But I talked, to the director of the Hyundai department store, and he said already it's about, 5,000 visitors, who went through the whole, MUHA's exhibition down there and visiting, this cafe, and they really like it, because sometimes, they feel like, wow, many of them, they visited Prague, so actually, so it was some kind of a nice memory for them. But on the other hand, they say, if I haven't been, I should go.
As the ambassador said, this kind of event seemed to be really effective. After coming here, I also wanted to go to Prague.
Other countries can learn the other nations.
안녕하세요. We're 디플로맷, 너도 나도 디플로맷의 나누리PD입니다. 저는 오늘 프라 낭만을 꿈꾸다 Dreaming About Prague 행사장에 다시 왔어요. 왜 다시 왔냐고요? 지난번엔 이곳에서 대사님을 만나 대사님과 행사에 대한 이야기를 잠시 나눠봤고요. 오늘은 본격적으로 행사를 즐겨보기 위해 제가 다시 왔습니다. 오늘은 그날 볼 수 없었던 특별한 공연이 준비되어 있고요. 한국과 체코를 연결해주는 대표 디플로맷이 저희에게 행사장을 소개해주기로 되어 있습니다. 그럼 여러분, 긴 말 할 것 없이 행사장으로 가보시죠.
So this is my second time visiting the Dreaming About Prague event space. And the special diplomat that will guide us around the Dreaming About Prague event today. Let me introduce to you the director of the Czech Center Seoul. The Czech Center Seoul, a contributory organization of the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was established in Seoul in 2013. The center is making great efforts to promote Czech culture and art in Korea and to promote cultural exchange between Korea and Czechia through various cultural events such as exhibitions, performances, and lectures. We decided to take a look around the outdoor library where we could meet Czech authors first.
Kafka.
So Kafka is here and Kundera. Kundera wrote a lot of his books in French. Some of his most famous books are written in Czech, but then he relocated to France and he wrote in French mostly. But all his archive was recently returned to his native city, Brno. So he's coming back home again. Karel Čapek
정원 가꾸는 사람의 12달. 오.
and Bohumil Hrabal.
뭐.
So they are not so well known like Kafka
Yes.
and Kundera, but I think amazing.
I had no idea that so many different Czech literary works were translated into Korean.
Franz Kafka, Milan Kundera, Bohumil Hrabal. Literature lovers will probably have heard these names at least once. Did you know that they're all Czech writers? Many works by Czech writers have been introduced to Korea. In particular, Kafka's works are so famous that they're included in Korean high school literature textbooks. Most of Kafka's representative works, such as The Metamorphosis, The Trial, and A Country Doctor, were translated into and published in Korean. Milan Kundera's works can also be easily found in Korean bookstores. Many of his works, including the masterpiece The Unbearable Lightness of Being, as well as The Festival of Insignificance, The Joke, and Immortality, have been translated into Korean. 3 works by Czech writer Bohumil Hrabal were translated into Korean and published. Karel Čapek's play R.U.R., Rossum's Universal Robots, which uses the word robot for the first time, was also introduced in Korea. Other titles translated into Korean include Yaroslav Hazek's The Good Soldier Svek, 19th century woman writer Božena Němčova's Czech Fairy Tales, and Bianca Belova's The Lake, which is considered the best novel since The Velvet Revolution.
So as a director of Czech Culture Center, if you recommend me one, what would you recommend?
Oh, this is so hard.
Except for Kafka and Kundera.
But actually, one of my favorite books is Kundera's Immortality. It's a really interesting blend of great prose and talking about life philosophy and art. It's really wonderful. But Čapek, he has, so the stories from one and second pocket, the stories, I have to give you the precise title, in Povídky z jedné a z druhé kapsy, in Czech. Yeah, so they're wonderful. They're short stories by Čapek, but all of his stuff is great.
This time, we are going to appreciate contemporary Czech art.
So this was really fortunate because this particular artist is already represented by a Korean gallery.
Oh.
So the Regina Gallery represents him in Korea. And so we're lucky that his artwork was already in Korea.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So we were able to do it quicker.
Oh.
These are Ян칼оп's artworks. Ян칼op was born in Prague and worked as a graffiti artist when he was young. With roots in graffiti, he has showcased a variety of contemporary artworks, delivering messages of dreams and utopia expressed through cubes and circles.
You can see it's really colorful.
Yes.
And I think it really appeals to Korean audience.
Oh, yes.
I feel that in general, Czech art might not be as colorful as this usually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but this particular artist really goes for the vivid colors and it really pops.
Yes.
And I think it works here.
I don't know why, but Koreans like this kind of vivid color art pieces.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Last year, he held his first solo exhibition in Korea.
It has like some kind of character. If I see this art, I can like instantly like say, oh, it is like Ян칼op.
Right. He's a
has,
really
like,
popular
character.
artist in Czech, and I'm very happy that Regina Gallery was able to bring him here.
I felt that the artist's personality was clearly revealed in each piece. It is very impressive. This time we are going to go back in time into the past. This is the exhibition hall of Alphonse, a representative Czech painter.
Born in 1860 in Moravia, located in the east of Czechia, Alphonse Mucha studied art in Munich and Paris and drew illustrations for magazines and advertisements. Mucha became famous when his poster for the play Gismonda, starring famous French actress Sarah Bernhardt, was revealed on New Year's Day, 1895, and received rave reviews. Afterwards, Mucha created advertisement posters for various products, such as champagne, chocolate, beer, and bicycles. and each time his works caused a sensation. In addition to posters, he expanded his scope to jewelry design and interior design, clearly revealing his own style. Mucha is often called the pioneer of Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau, meaning new art, is a style that was popular in Europe and the US in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, which blurs the boundaries between pure art and applied art. One of the characteristics of Art Nouveau is that it was often inspired by natural forms such as the sinuous curves of plants and flowers. These curves can also be seen in Mucha's works. Introducing works that connect industry and art, Alphonse Mucha had such a great influence on the history of painting that his works are referred to as the beginning of modern illustration, graphic design, and animation.
와.
In this room, you could see a variety of Mucha's paintings and posters digitized and realized as media art. It felt like I was in one of his paintings.
Mucha lived for a large part of his life in Paris.
Paris.
And that's where he became really famous, creating these posters
Posters.
of artists of that time.
Oh, so those are artists?
Yes, many of them.
Wow.
And he even did commercial work promoting brands. And then he took all this knowledge, eventually returned to Czech, and created a real huge masterpiece of many paintings together called the Slav Epic.
Slav epic.
So if ever our viewers go to the Czech Republic, there are these gigantic canvases. They are really big, and they celebrate our art and culture.
Mucha was mainly active in Paris, and he returned to Czechia in 1910. At the time, the Czech lands were part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. An ardent nationalist, he began drawing the Slav epic, the history of the Slavic people over 1,000 years ago in his homeland upon his return. The Slav epic became Mucha's masterpiece. From 1910 to 1928, he painted a total of 20 works. In 1928, when his works were finally completed, Mucha donated them to his country.
Also, if you go to the Municipal House, which is a building in Prague, you can see he painted inside of the building, and he really cared about the country. He really was fighting for the identity of our nation, because we were under the Austrian Habsburg monarchy. So our identity as a nation was suppressed, and he was one of the pivotal artists that helped us bring that back.
So he was a patriot.
He was definitely a patriot, yes.
This exhibition held in Seoul mainly displays paintings that Mucha painted while he was active in Paris.
This was made in 1897,
But
so
it
even more
doesn't
than...
feel like 100 years old.
Maybe because he's so influential, this style became definitive, and a lot of people copied him.
Oh.
It was really amazing to see the influence of an artist who dominated an era. What did people who came to see the exhibition feel?
그리스 로마 신화 같은 만화 속에 나오는 캐릭터를 보는 듯한 느낌? 애니메이션을 약간 영화처럼 이렇게 쭉 이어서 보는 느낌이 들었어요.
최근 날씨랑 굉장히 어울리는 그런 꽃과 뭐 과일들 이런 그림들이 많이 있어가지고 좋았던 것 같아요.
I'm sure that the Mucha Foundation would like to continue with even larger exhibitions in the future. There have been already 2 exhibitions in the past, and I think Koreans really do like the art and they keep coming back.
Then I remember the interesting story I heard when I met the ambassador here.
Actually grandson,
Son, yeah.
grandson of the. He's called
Joseph.
Marcus. I mean John Mucha is the son, but Marcus is the grandson, who is actually he was born already in UK, but he speaks Czech. He learned to speak Czech again, and he got married with a Korean woman. So he has a Korean wife, a Hanguk wife.
Alphonse's great-grandson married a Korean. Another connection with Korea. I hope that many of MUHA's works will be exhibited in the future.
You kind of learn how these posters were made through these layers.
Wow.
After seeing the exhibition, you can stamp MUHA's work on a postcard.
You can see that each stamp presents just a small portion of the picture. So this particular one, go ahead and stamp it. So we have number one. And then we go to number two.
You can experience the principle of multicolor printmaking, in which each layer goes on top of another with each stamp, thereby completing a picture.
There you go. And the final picture.
It was a fun experience. We're going to see a performance now. Let me introduce the Czech puppet group, Karumato.
Fuj, cochino. Pozor. Momento Instagram. Arriba. Hey! 감사합니다. Rufino. Basta.
Czechia is known as the home of marionettes. A marionette is a puppet controlled from above using wires or strings. Czech marionette puppetry was recognized for its value and importance and was registered as a UNESCO World Intangible Cultural Heritage in December 2016. Before watching the performance, I was a little worried about whether I would be able to enjoy it due to the language and culture difference. But it wasn't a problem at all. Even without dialogue, the performers' stories were well told through music, humor, and the unique characters of each handcrafted marionette. The audience all seemed to be enjoying it. After watching the performance, I really wanted to interview the performers.
Soubor Karumato vznikl v roce 1997 a od té doby hrajeme loutková představení všude po světě. Soubor Karumato se specializuje na loutky na nitích, marionety, a hrajeme představení nejenom pro děti, ale i pro dospělé. Například představení, co jsme hráli zde, je dřevěný cirkus, který je pro všechny diváky, a dále máme například operu, která je pro dospělé, což je divadelní ředitel, a také máme i pohádky pro děti.
And this is not the first time they have performed in Korea.
I've been several times in Korea, and we are always really emotional because we enjoy here not only your culture and but your society, but also the way that people receive our show. The difference between European and Korean is that the Korean react a lot. They make a lot of sounds during the performance, like oh, ah, ooh, yeah, and they behave sometimes like small kids, but it's beautiful because they express their emotion. So I love that.
So, what do they think is the charm of marionette?
loutky mají tu úžasnou vlastnost, že vlastně můžou udělat to, co by normální herec nezahrál. Můžou lítat, můžeme mít na scéně lva a vlastně to loutkové divadlo je o hodně kouzelnější, protože má různé triky, různé možnosti, co normální činohra nemá.
Well, the marionette is something that is in fact is dead. It's a piece of, it's an object, but he come alive. And this is a kind of magic that something who is not made in wood, people believe that is alive. So that's, in my opinion, the most important charm in the room.
While looking around the event venue, I was able to talk to one of the department store employees who planned this event. She could also be called a diplomat as the event connects Korea and Czechia, right?
맨 처음에는 사실 저희가 무역센터라는 그 이름에 맞게 조금 글로벌한 콘텐츠를 하자 라고 이제 그 기획이 됐는데 저희만이 할 수 있는 유니크한 글로벌 콘텐츠를 진행을 하자라고 했고 카타르 대사관이랑 이제 협력해서 진행을 하게 되었고요. 네네.
It is the second time that this department store has collaborated with an embassy to plan such an event. Last year, in collaboration with the Qatar embassy, a cultural event was held under the theme Arabian Days and Nights.
그 기대하신 효과에 대해서도 좀 설명을 해주세요.
체코의 문학, 음악, 미술 등 문화 전반에 걸친 콘텐츠를 통해 저희 고객들에게 지적인 영감을 드리고자 했으며 예술이 일상이 되는 의미 있고 감동 넘치는 행복의 순간을 경험하시길 바라는 마음입니다.
근데 이제 이런 전시회를 기획하실 때 최대한 많은 분들이 오셔야 이제 전시회를 기획한 의미가 사는데 좀 많은 고객들을 좀 이렇게 끌어들이기 위해서 어떤 부분에 신경을 쓰셨는지 궁금합니다.
체코의 문화예술 중 임팩트가 될 수 있는 부분을 캐치하여 저희 고유의 공간에 자연스럽고 세련되게 녹이려 하였습니다. 첫 번째는 자연스럽고 아름다운 공간 연출입니다. 한국에서 상대적으로 덜 익숙한 체코 문화를 다양한 고객들이 자연스럽게 경험할 수 있는 아름답고 편안한 공간으로 만들고자 하였습니다. 인위적인 전시 팝업이나 체험 부스, 테마파크 등을 설치하여 참여 허들을 높이기보다는 무역점만이 가지고 있는 도심 속 귀한 녹지 공간인 하늘정원 특징과 계절적 이점을 살렸습니다. 예를 들어 프랑스 에펠탑, 네덜란드 풍차처럼 상징이 있는 국가가 있고 체코처럼 전체적인 무드, 분위기가 특장점인 나라가 있습니다. 이에 차간의 낭만, 동화라는 키워드로 전체 무드를 조성하였습니다.
혹시 내년에도 이런 비슷한 행사를 하실 건지 그것도 궁금하네요.
하반기 1회 또는 내년도 계획 중이며 국가는 선정 중에 있습니다. 이미지 소비가 크지 않은 국가로요. 사실 각국 대사관의 러브콜로 한 국가만 선정해야 하는 아쉬움이 있지만 국가별 유니크함 상징성을 고려해 최종 프로젝트국 선정 진행할 계획입니다.
Other embassies are also said to be very interested, so it looks like we can look forward to more interesting and unique events like this in the future. The Czech Embassy and Czech Center Seoul are also planning various events. So if you want to learn more about Czech culture, please pay attention to these institutions as well.
So I actually really like doing a project I made called the Cultural Suitcase, and it's dedicated to children. It's sort of an outreach program where we can come to schools, and we've already done one for about 100 children in Jeollanam-do, and we're doing it also here in Seoul as part of the EU Goes to School program. And in this suitcase we have some puppets, we have puzzles, we have games like a memory game where they can learn some Czech words, as well as a hat and a tiara, so for kids. So I really like doing that, it's fun. As far as Kafka, we are also now working with the Sojon Literally Foundation, where there's an exhibition. We work together, and from our side we brought like a illustrated exhibition about Kafka, and that's really great. We also work with Gangnam-gu office, so we have a lot of partners, a lot of events. We try to keep it varied so a lot of people can come join us.
As we always emphasize here on We're Diplomats, there is nothing better than culture to bring people from different countries closer together.
culture, it's one tool of diplomacy. I mean, we call it soft diplomacy, you know. The relations between the country are based, you know, on the sharing some values, you know, democracy and, you know, human rights and respect for the multipolar international law. That's great, you know. But, you know, the people have to know each other, you know. So like a people-to-people contact, you know. And to have this people-to-people contact is the best thing actually via culture and sport, you know. So actually I think, you know, the sports diplomacy, especially culture diplomacy, are the best way how the other countries can learn the other nations.
잠깐 책을 읽어볼까요? 여유를 즐기면서.
So, instead of going home after filming, I stayed here and enjoyed Czech culture even more. I wanted to get closer to Czechia.
책을 읽다가 재밌는 구절을 발견했는데요. 성인과 중급자를 위한 댄스 레슨은 소설 전체가 한 문장으로 구성되어 있는 실험적인 소설이다. 어떤 소설일지 너무 궁금하지 않습니까, 여러분?